but you are as important as John McCain to me.
Wow.
Yes.
Kins.
This
Now
is
that's
our
the
time.
type of compliment that I usually have to go fishing for. It doesn't usually just walk right up to me like that.
Hoon, how is your morning show? From what I saw, you did a phenomenal job. I love watching you.
Thank you. But now here's the thing. I'm as low as I can go, and I feel like my head is partially cut off. What do we have to do? There we go.
There you look. You look so
Good.
handsome.
Now,
There you
but call me by my nickname. Call me Hooner.
go. Okay, Hoons.
Okay.
Hooner.
Hoons. So, Kins, who gave you that nickname, by the way?
You. I have a fun lower third. I put tweet us your cup of coffee. I like to give them specific instructions.
Okay, no, that's good. I believe that we can use what in our business is called the lower third to more effective measures.
Well,
I really
I
do.
love trying to encourage additional social media activity.
Yes, right.
And so just tweet us. Well, tweet us what? Tweet us your cup of coffee because they probably have it in their hand right now.
Oh, so are you getting a couple yet?
Well, we
You
just threw it
started.
up there.
Oh, I see.
No, this is a special you and I project. This isn't a general tweet me your cup of coffee. This is a Kinsey and Hooner.
Okay,
So now,
I like it.
Oh, good.
And you've
I'm
got
glad.
your monster drink, and
I
I'm
do.
actually already through the caffeinated portion of my day. I have this beat up old Arizona Diamondbacks cup, still trying to represent. And I'm into the ice water situation, but then I
You're
get up.
you're staying
I get up
hydrated.
I get up at 3. So.
and you're staying hydrated, and that's really important. It's hot outside sometimes.
Correct. And then the other thing is, there's no sense if you're me and you're getting up at 3 and you're contemplating. This is the time of day I contemplate. Okay, am I going to take a nap? And so if you're drinking caffeine at 11 o'clock,
This is the best time to have grandbabies for you too, because then you can nap together.
that's so true. Did you see the?
I saw that
you saw the
sweet
pic?
picture. I saw that sweet picture of you guys on the beach.
Yes.
Aw.
Right. I think that was on my Insta. I'll share it with
I
everybody.
saw it on
body.
F book.
Oh, did you?
But,
Okay.
yeah.
Sometimes I'll post about
Sometimes you
here.
Jebs post.
Let me see where that one is, just so people don't feel left out.
No, I don't want to exclude anyone.
Of course.
Look at how sweet
That's me and my
that
little
is.
buddy.
That's low.
Now, I usually don't go shirtless.
But it's Monday.
Yeah.
Might as
that's
well.
For sure. And little Mason, we were on vacay not
I
too
can
long
tell that
ago.
Mason loves you.
I hope he does. I love him. So, now it's interesting, Kens. You and I were just talking about our caffeinated schedule. So I see you doing a monster drink.
Because, usually I'm barely awake at this hour. This is when I'm
Yes,
putting on
no,
my
I
face
know.
to come in at noon.
Right, yeah. But my question is, do you nap?
I love naps.
Do you love naps?
They're my favorite
There's a
thing.
really interesting news story out there today
Ah.
about the value of a nap and the supposed value that is not there.
Whoa. Oh, here we go. Great
Here we
segue. Let's
go.
tell me about this.
Okay. So this study says, and maybe I can look up a little bit more on it right now, but the bottom line to it is, if you nap longer than about an hour, you're doing more harm than good.
Oh,
Is
no.
what the study says.
That I believe.
I don't
That
know about
is-
you guys in the chat box, but honestly, when I take a nap, I feel like it's a success.
Yeah.
If I got at
I
least
know.
2 hours in.
Oh, yeah. No,
Do you
that's
too?
a good day.
That's a great nap. It's 2
And
hours.
I don't have children, I have dogs.
Yes.
And so that's to me, that's my quality time with my babies.
Oh, they'll lay right on the bed
yeah,
with you.
snuggle. It's a snuggle party for sure.
Oh, that's great. No, this sort of surprised me. So now that we're mentioning it, the 2 things it said were in this study, and I bet Fox News has got some info on that. Let me. Okay, so we're just going to look. But so it said if you sleep much longer than about an hour, 60 minutes, starting at 60, maybe going 90 or even longer, you're not.
I mean, I understand in the sense that half your day's gone, but I don't understand how that could be.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see.
And I just wanted to say to the chat room, I've noticed that none of you have tweeted pictures of your coffee to me, so I am personally offended.
Okay, so here it is, and this is straight from Fox News, and I think it's pretty interesting. So researchers looked at 200 men and 186 women.
Well, now I feel left out.
Do you? Okay. Participants who slept midday had a 5% lower blood pressure level compared to those who didn't sleep at all. And their average readings were 4% lower when they were awake and 6% lower while they were sleeping. So apparently a quick nap is good to just kind of bring that blood pressure down. We're in a little bit of a stress-oriented business. Come on, I'm not telling anybody something they don't know. Right. So anyway, there's that. Okay.
Yeah, I have to tell you something, Henry.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm going to still sleep for 2 hours.
I'm going to too. There's no study that I can think of that's going to get me to change my habits on probably anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now this doesn't really go for the why. Oh, wait. The team observed that longer sleep was more beneficial. This is a different study than
We
the one I was
love
after.
this study. This
Yeah.
is our favorite one.
Those who slept for 60 minutes midday, like a real true nap, had lower 24-hour blood pressure reading, so it helps you through the whole day.
Nice.
Additionally, those who slept at noon took fewer anti-hyperintensive medicines. So, in other words, you generally are doing better with your blood pressure, and you don't feel like you have to take a medicine because, although, when I go to the doctor, I don't know why, but it's a sort of a conditioned response thing. As soon as they start strapping that thing on, I'm like, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah.
And then I always get a little bit of a higher blood pressure reading at the doctor than when I do it at home because I have a little testy deal I have at the house.
Yeah, it's the process, perhaps. Perhaps it's just the process of being in that cold room and...
Yeah. Maybe so. Maybe because it is cold. It is cold, that's for sure.
Well, it's just the environment.
But I feel like I have not delivered on the headline that I was trying to bring. Oh, here we go. Double-edged sword of napping. I believe this might be more to the area of what we were looking for. And who can't relate to this? I mean, I have to believe that some of you guys in the chat box, after we kind of, when's that first break?
We do a break from 1:30 to 2:30.
1:30 to 2. I would have to believe a few folks take a nap.
Well, I do. I'm under the desk.
So that they can
Don't
be
tell.
ready
Don't
to
tell Samia. She
ready to
kicks me.
rejoin. Okay, here is the the European Society of Cardiology analyzed 400 people who suffer from blood pressure. This is also a blood pressure thing. It was discovered that sleepers have 5% lower than those who skip the naps. Maybe this will have the bad news. It was found that the longer the nap, the more the blood pressure drops. In addition, the study showed those who have... On the other hand... here. Okay, on the other hand, needing naps could be an early indicator of undiagnosed health issues. For example, those who rest at noon may suffer from sleep disturbance during the night, which makes them more likely to develop diabetes, and they don't really know what's going on. I have diabetes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, type 2. And so I wonder if over the years of all of my, poor sleep habits, which you can't have an exactly great sleep schedule when you're on this schedule, I wonder if that, increased it. Anyway, regular nappers who require 1 hour long rest, according to a recent Cambridge study, overall, over the course of their life, have a 35% greater risk of dying from, it doesn't say what exactly, but it does say that it's an indication that people are dealing with respiratory diseases.
That's pretty scary.
Yeah, so anyway, there's a lot of information too. I would say if you like taking your naps, take them.
Yeah, just go hard. Take that nap.
Oh, now this is really practical info. There's the last little bit. So this professor at Stanford tells the Wall Street Journal, which is sort of part of our
I love
family
Wall
here.
Street Journal.
I know,
yeah.
isn't it great? That if you take a nap and you dream, so say you're only napping for a short one, 20, 30 minutes, that kind of a thing, and you're dreaming, that's proof that you're not getting enough rest at night.
Oh, I love dreams. When I was reading Twilight, I would dream of Edward Cullen, and it was my favorite thing.
Really?
It was my favorite thing to read and then go to sleep and dream of Edward.
Wow.
Don't ever tell anyone this.
Oh, no, that's good, Kens. It's just a little insight.
I had some things I wanted to discuss with you. First of all,
Okay.
before you leave me, first of all, Ben Carson and Trump, those polls are interesting.
Oh, my
Two
goodness.
polar opposite personalities, polar opposite postures.
That is a really good observation on your part, because if you were looking for like overall just kind of approach to problem solving, or just overall your personality, you're right. These two couldn't be on the entire campaign trail amongst Republicans, Democrats, Independents. You couldn't be farther apart than the soft-spoken Dr. Ben Carson to the let's take him head on, here we go, Donald Trump.
Who am I going to put in their place today?
Right.
It's like every time he opens his mouth, I'm like, everybody duck.
Yeah. No. Today's headline, by the way, which I thought this was smart of him, he said something about it over the weekend. Did you hear what it was? Who he's going to take on next?
No.
The gangs.
Whoa.
He said, I will take on gangs, and we'll get rid of gangs in this country so fast it'll make your head spin.
I love that.
Well, of course.
He's just such a tough cookie.
Yeah, I mean, we all know we got a problem with gangs.
We do,
Gang activity and the violence it leads to and everything else. So smart on his part.
Yes.
But of course, people want to know how.
But he did lay out his immigration plan
did.
as unrealistic as certain things are. But I have to say, what the Democrats are really, pitching a fit about is how are you going to get all of these people out of the country? Are you going to load them up on the bus? Are you going to go knock on everybody's door? But reality is, they're trying to take, I hate to say this because I sound like such a conservative, but if the objective is to take guns away with gun control, or how are you going to knock on everybody's door and take their guns out of their home? So it's like their arguments are. Right. We could throw the same argument in their face in regards to some of their politics as well.
Right.
But I do think that he will lay out a plan in regards to gangs, and then if it is successful, we will see Scott Walker, Marco Rubio, Ben Carson, Carly Fiorina. They'll all start to talk about it too, because they followed suit with illegal immigration.
Right.
Because last go around, when everybody pulled back, they said we really need that Latino vote. We really need to market ourselves to them. Donald Trump did a complete 180, came out and went after a specific group, and now it seems like everybody's following suit.
Well, it was Scott Walker. Funny that you would mention him. He actually gave some sort of a comment to somebody this weekend. It's actually getting to the point it's hard to sort of keep track. There's so many candidates.
There absolutely is.
But he said something like he thinks the whole idea of building a wall is one that is probably worth exploring. Which, it's fine that he's now staken out of position, but again, he's reacting to Donald Trump. These guys have got to figure out how to make their own headlines, and Christie did it. Now, did you get into the whole Christie thing yet?
I'm off and on Christie.
Okay. So today, his, where could I find it? I want to read it to you as close to verbatim as possible. So this, what Christie said is actually out trumping Trump for headlines for today.
Oh.
So, all right, here we go. Here it comes. So, let's see. I want to get somebody that I think is going to be fair on their coverage of it. Okay, I think this might work. So he says.
While you're looking at that too, I have to mention Martin OMalley. I thought it was really creative of him to do a press conference in front of Trump's building to actually get some cameras on him.
Did he? Yeah. When was this? This
that
weekend?
That was last week.
Oh, okay.
Or at the end of last week, he did a press conference in front of one of Trump's buildings, because otherwise all we're talking about is Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. And it was a great, interesting way for him to actually get some cameras in his face.
And likewise, Kins, I thought when Carly Fiorina, who at the time was nowhere in the polls, went to a Hillary Clinton event in South Carolina and held a news conference out in front of that convention center.
Sneaky.
I thought that was brilliant on her part, too. Yeah. But now she doesn't need it. Now she's doing so great in the polls. But anyway, so here's what Christie said. Now, he said, at any moment, FedEx can tell you where a package is. It's on the truck. It's at the station. It's on the airplane. This is speaking in New Hampshire. Yet here we let people come into the country with visas, and the minute they come in, we lose track of them. We need to have a system that tracks you from the moment you come in, and when your time is up, however long your visa is, then we go get you. We tap you on the shoulder and say, "Excuse me, thanks for coming, time to go." Now the headline, so that's what he said.
Uh-huh.
Well, the headline, the way it's being played is, Christie, track immigrants like a FedEx package. Okay.
Which is very important to me. I need to know where my packages are.
Well, which is, I mean, it is interesting that in private enterprise, they care so much about it, you can know at any moment. But we don't have what he's trying to say here is we don't even care enough to have a system set up where we can actually know whether or not the whole visa situation is working or not. So he said, and it's not in this article, but he said, I would hire, he must have already have a commitment from this guy or whatever. He said he was going to hire the guy from FedEx to come on to the government for 90 days and help to develop a system where they can actually keep track of visas that are issued.
That's creative.
Now, if all you see is the lower third, and we just talked about this, you think, oh, well, that guy wants to, like, insert a chip.
Right, or just one of those codes, a tattooed code.
Correct, right. Or insert a chip, you know, into your forearm or something, which is
that
not what he's saying.
That happens in the movies.
Correct.
Justin Timberlake in Time.
So, again, you have to sort of drill down to see exactly what the story is. But point being,
that was something that
he grabbed the headlines.
Exactly. That's a cool move. And I did see he was talking about how he's always been the political underdog, and I don't think that that's the case. There was a time when he was the GOP's shining star. He made the mistake of hugging it out with Obama on a tarmac, and everybody wasn't down with that.
Yeah, the hug has definitely cost him with a lot of, I think, GOP faithful.
Yeah.
Funny enough, it doesn't ever seem to have bothered Mitt Romney, even though some people pointed to that as this like momentum swing in those final few days.
Really?
But I mean, what I saw was he's like, hey, you know, he's trying to do his job as governor. Isn't it interesting that Romney has now completely, I think everybody thought, oh, you know, sort of the grandfather of the party as our previous nominee. He's like been nowhere.
Yeah, he's laying low, but I almost think it's beneficial to the party because it's like you don't want the person that didn't win hanging around, kicking rocks and giving their opinion on who's great and who's going places because it's like you didn't win.
Yeah.
Why would you know?
Right. Yeah. Well, it is interesting. When we first started talking about this, you said, okay, so the polling is out, and it's pretty darn fascinating. This is the most recent poll, and so let me share it with you and the audience. And
I covered the Ben Carson event when Ben Carson was in town, and there were a lot of posters there that were Carly and Carson. A lot of people suggesting that Carson run for president and Carly be his VP. And I thought, even when you listen to them speak, their tone is very similar. I can definitely see it. But two of the non-political people.
Oh my goodness!
Can you really package that together? Because they've got great resumes and they've got interesting lives, but in regards to politics,
if you were right now. Because we really don't know who's going to win the nomination, but if you were looking for a headline, to me, what you can tell so far, and this is absolutely definite, despite the fact the poll numbers for each candidate are going up and down, is people want an insurgent type of candidate. They want a non-politician. You look at these numbers out of Iowa, and the big headline is that Ben Carson is now tied with Donald Trump. First time. They're both at 23%.
That's amazing.
And that is, I don't know how much of that is coming off the debate, because people thought he did quite well in the debate, or how much of it is just sort of a groundswell of support that's been slowly building for him. So it could be either one of those, or it could be some people who like Donald Trump as the outsider saying, now I'm going to take a look at this guy. Because we learned from 2012 that it seems like every month there's some new flavor of the month that has everybody kind of interested.
Yeah.
And you remember, we went from, I mean, at one point, Herman Cain was far and away in the polls, and then he dropped off.
I remember that.
And then Rick Santorum was doing really well, and then he dropped off. Rick Perry, until his oops moment at the debate, was tops. So it's one of those three things. Either he's siphoning off a little bit of Trump support, or it's just the natural growth of his campaign, and he has a very much of a grassroots type of appeal.
And how interesting that we are not really considered a state where you need to win. This is not a state that is considered one of those historical places where you need to dominate. But we've had both Donald Trump and Ben Carson visit us.
Sure.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, but they tried, Kins, a few years ago to try to get to get our primary date moved way up. I think it was going to be either in front of New Hampshire or in front of South Carolina.
Wow.
And the party said, if you do that, we will take away 50% of your delegates at the convention.
Oh.
We like the system the way it is. It's Iowa, it's New Hampshire, it's South Carolina.
Wow.
And then after that, I guess maybe it doesn't matter so much. But if we could have pulled that off, and maybe if the people who were behind that movement would have just stuck with it and said, fine, we'll deal with that at the convention, but over the long term, they would relent. Arizona should be. We are such a melting pot of the whole country, and really of the world, that there is so much room here for divergency of opinions.
Yeah.
Now, I used to live in Seattle because I went to the UW, and I'm a very proud Husky. But it's very liberal up there. And you really, I don't know that everybody is too forward with their thoughts if they have conservative thoughts.
Yeah.
If you're in a group of 20 people who are, I don't know, you're all sitting around and everybody's expressing the same opinion, and it's not yours. So
that was me in Los Angeles, California. I was the most quiet person in the city.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying. So when you get to Arizona, it had to be a breath of fresh air for you that you could express any opinion, any opinion whatsoever. So that's number one. Number two, everybody here, except for, second, third generation, everybody else who's here is here from somewhere else. Yeah. So they bring a little bit of that Ohio feel with them, or that Oregon feel, or that Alabama feel, or whatever. And we are a better testing ground, if you ask me,
I agree,
than some of these other states.
Yeah.
So,
that's great. That's a great observation.
Yeah, and I really think that you sort of nailed it just in terms of talking about why aren't we in the forefront? But they do come, because we're getting to be a big enough state now. Kins, when I moved here, the year was 1982, and I started work at this TV station. I spent a few years at one other one.
I wasn't born yet.
Right. Can you imagine? I started at this station before you were even born. It's crazy.
And this carpet is the same.
Yeah, but this is a new paint job.
Yeah, this
right
is
here
the
for
new.
News
This is
Now.
new.
This is just the greatest thing. I just love News Now, mostly
I just
because
love you, Hoon.
Hey, Kins, the feeling's mutual.
Aww.
But mostly because we can come like a guy. I'm on Periscope when the storm was rolling in on Friday night, and out there at my house in Mesa, and the guy or was it Thursday? When was the first? Anyways.
It was definitely there. I believe that there was crazy weather on Thursday.
Okay. Yeah, maybe it was then. So anyway, a guy says to me, so why do you Periscope? You have access to live TV. And I said, it's the interactivity of it. And it's the same here. Because let's just read. Here's Halala, who says, Hooner, you have an amazing shirt-tie combo. Just saying. Thanks, Halala.
Rachel loves us. We love Rachel.
Yeah. Oh gosh, Debbie, when I lived in Vermont, I was the only person who didn't carve Obama into 5 pumpkins on my porch.
Debbie, that's because you're unique. You're special.
Oh, that is interesting. But,
yeah, no, I completely agree. There's live television, and then there's actually including the people that are watching and trying to collaborate with your audience. And that's such important content to actually collaborate with your audience, because you actually begin to create relationships with the people that are watching you, and they're more invested in the program or in the content when they get to be a part of it. And I think that that's very special, and that's why we love News Now.
I think that's really insightful. And one day last week when I was sitting up here with Samia, somebody made the comment, and they were relatively new, I think, to what we're doing here on News Now, and they said, this is the way all news should be delivered, in a completely conversational style. I'll tell you what's interesting about that. I think part of the reason that on TV we're number one is that we carry much less of a, I'm the important anchorman, I'm going to tell you this, and then this person over here is going to tell you that. I mean, we don't do anything like that. And we're very reflective of the lifestyle here in Arizona, and we're much more casual than you're going to find, I think, in probably 95% of the news product that's out there across America. Nevertheless, it's still not half as casual as what we're able to do here on News Now.
Very good point.
And that's why, even though we're in the infancy of something, that's why this is really going to grow.
And I have premature gray hairs, so I need to be in the infancy of something. I'm losing my mind. I think I'm having a midlife crisis. Being 30 years old and having to go to the hairdresser and say, please cover up my premature grays is humbling.
I think that,
so at least
from what I hear from the ladies, I think that happens a lot.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I was gonna cry.
So let's just run through this poll, because this is the
sorry, we got off topic.
Okay. Okay, so here we go. This is a Monmouth University poll, and it is the most recent one. I don't want to get too close into the mic, or I'm overmodulating, but it's the most recent one that was done. It's reflective of the last 3 days. It's the 27th through the 30th, so they wrapped it up last night.
Wow.
Put their collated all their stuff, and here we go. Carson has now risen to number one and tied with Donald Trump at number one. There's never been a poll. In fact, I asked Brett Baer. This is one of the reasons I love
Brett
Mondays.
Baer.
I get to talk to him every Monday.
I did not know that. Now I'm just gonna invest in that. I love Brett Baer.
TiVo, that 6 a.m. hour. I get about 3 or 4 one-on-one minutes with Brett on the big headlines of the day.
That is cool.
And I said to him, here's a guy who just a couple of months ago was, at 2%. Most of the polls, Ben Carson was 2-3%. Maybe a few, he'd pop up to like an 8 kind of a thing. And so for him to be at 23% and tied with Trump is a huge headline. Number 3, and this is Iowa. And so the thing about Iowa that I do love, and I'd still rather see Arizona be first in the chute, but the thing I love about Iowa is they take it so seriously.
Yeah.
It's
an art.
They really research the candidates. They really take the time to go out and appear at these events. And so anyway, you've got Trump and Carson tied for 1. So who's number 3?
Carly?
That is correct.
Jeb, just back it up.
Well, what did I saw a headline on Drudge this weekend that said Jeb ebb. Like the tide is ebbing, and the ebb, it's like the tide's rolling back out, and that's been it.
Well, my mom said to me, did you know that some of Jeb's fundraisers have quit? And I said, yes, Donald Trump told me on Twitter over the weekend. Donald Trump was gloating about it over Twitter.
Really?
But here's my question for you, because Carly and Ben are so strong.
Yeah.
They're confident. They are so smart. They're soft-spoken. How does Donald Trump attack them without alienating people?
Because he really hasn't gone after them, either one of them.
No.
That's a really good question.
I don't think he can.
I think that he would be wise not to, because he's doing just fine on his own. And Jeb Bush makes such a convenient target for him, because if you're an anti-establishment candidate, that's the reason people are giving you so much support. So if you start attacking the other anti-establishment candidate, it's not. I don't think it's going to feel right or fit well with the person who has that mindset. And a lot of people do here in 2016. They're so fed up with politics as usual. I know we say that all the time, but it's really true this time around.
Donald Trump is a walking, talking display of that, because I don't think ever in our lives, while we were sitting there watching The Apprentice, even if just channel surfing, would we imagine that man would be a representation of our country.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And so, and yet, another really interesting thing, there was another poll that came out of Iowa that still showed Trump was in the lead, but Carson closing in fast.
Wow.
That was a Des Moines Register, and they're highly respected, but it's a little bit further back on the time frame, where it started on the 23rd and ended on the 26th, versus Monmouth, they started theirs on the 27th, so it's much more of a snapshot of where we are right now. But the other thing about the Des Moines Register poll was that people are now giving Trump, at least in Iowa, a lot of credit as a viable and winnable candidate.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's just so fascinating to me.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you are a young person that has grown up entertained, iPad, like this is, to me, he's entertainment. I mean, and he's pop culture, and reality is Barack Obama became our president because he was accepted and encouraged by some of our biggest pop culture
totally
icons.
embraced him.
Puff Daddy on the stage at the VMAs wearing an Obama shirt. Katy Perry wearing dresses with his face on them during concerts.
Right.
He was embraced by pop culture, and he became such a familiar name. And the graffiti street art for him that you'd see on every corner in Los Angeles, and Donald Trump just shows up and he is pop culture. He's already there.
Yeah, he is already pop culture. That's a good way to put it. But I do think that the majority of pop culture that comes out of Hollywood is more liberal.
Oh, they are. They're Hillary now. Katy Perry's Twitter icon right now is her within the Hillary logo.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and I just saw that Hillary Clinton was having a fundraiser at Justin Bieber's manager's house.
We'll see. That's smart on her part. Actually, it was smart of Hillary. To be hanging out with the Kardashians on the night of the Republican debate, because she was able to grab that pop culture slice
of the Perez Hilton headline
of the media, of the media world. Okay, so back to this poll. You've got Carson and Trump tied for first, and Fiorina then alone in third place, and they're the only ones in double digits. Although Ted Cruz is close, but if you look at it and you say that's 56% in a time frame where there's 17 candidates. That's 56% who are saying, do not give me business as usual. Do not give me a Washington politician.
I understand.
And if you wanted to make this point, next up in the poll is Ted Cruz, and he has totally made his persona
as butting heads with the...
Correct. I'll call Mitch McConnell a liar if I want to. I'll go to Washington and I'll aggravate and frustrate. So even though he is really inside Washington, he's at least able to be as much of appear to be an outsider as possible. You add his 9 points and you're up to well over 2/3 that you could say are the insurgent type of candidates, and that just particularly for Republicans who are so thought to be the next guy up, right after when McCain had run before and not won, and then did run and got the nomination in 2008, it was sort of thought that, well, it is his turn. And Romney didn't win, so in 2012 it was thought, well, okay, we'll let Romney do it because it's his turn. And that has been sort of the conventional wisdom of Republicans. But there's so much anger at the way the country is headed right now, just the direction and all the problems we're having, that for the first time in a long time, that is not going to be the way the Republican nomination is secured this time.
Are
is
you
the
sure?
Next guy up.
I'm so afraid that it really is run by the suits and the powerhouses, and they've decided that it's Jeb, and so they'll figure it out. They'll make it Jeb.
It's possible. That is possible. But you can't argue against these numbers.
That's true.
And there is such a thing as momentum in the political world, and he's completely completely lost his. As much
he
off
has.
of one debate as anything else. He was rusty. He looked like he didn't even want to be on the stage.
Which is his like mode of operandi. He never looks like he wants to be there.
Right.
But he's sweet and he's smart. I want to like him.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
really do.
yeah,
I think he's got a good moral compass.
Oh, I think so too. And I think he has, a pretty good story to tell of actual things that he accomplished while he was in the governor's chair.
Yeah.
But right now, it's like Christie when he was up on the stage at the first debate. He's talking about, well, here's what I accomplished, and we cut taxes and fees 19 times, and blah, blah, blah. And I just thought, nobody wants to know about your resume, your previous resume in government. That's just not what they want to know about. They want to know today, how are you solving today's problems?
Good point.
And so let's go through the rest of this poll here. Scott Walker, at one time, was thought to be the shoo-in in Iowa because he was their next-door neighbor. He's while he is in fourth place
He's
in this
such a
poll.
lame duck. He doesn't butt heads with anybody. He agrees
Right.
with everyone.
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah.
watching paint dry.
There you are. While he's actually in fifth place in this poll, which is better than where Jeb Bush is, he's still down to 7%, and you got to really turn that around. After that, in Monmouth, let's see here. I want to make sure we give everybody the proper credit. Actually, then you do have Jeb Bush at number 6, with Rubio and Kasich tied for
I
number
like
7.
Kasich too. I like Kasich a lot.
Kasich was, I know he was a sub-headline coming out of. You know
Those
what's funny?
debates.
The big headline coming out of the debate was the Trump war with Megyn Kelly.
Absolutely, yeah.
But
But Trump didn't do that great in that debate.
He didn't do that great, and even though the media does kind of have a tendency to decide what the headlines are going to be, I really do think this process works in large measure because people have been looking at these candidates and they really watch the debate closely, and so you see growth with Ben Carson. Carly Fiorina got good headlines coming out of the debate. You see growth with Carly Fiorina, and even though I don't know, 60%, I'd say more than 50% anyway of the talk was the Trump, Megyn Kelly squabble. But in reality, people are really paying close attention to this and really thinking it through. So it's interesting to see Bush at, down to that level, and then Kasich, who didn't get a lot. He got generally good reviews, but didn't get a lot of headlines coming out of it.
Yeah.
I think he served himself well. So let's count it up because, my understanding is the next debate is the top 8,
Wow.
not the top 10.
Yeah, but I also understood that CNN was using older polls because Carly Fiorina was not going to be included, and she was upset about that.
Well, I can't imagine that they're going to.
They were using polls that were taken prior to the first. Isn't that silly?
Okay, well, that's dumb. They should
Yeah.
have the debate is, I believe, the 16th.
Yeah.
And they need to include polls that go up to probably the 15th if it's possible, or the 13th or the 14th. But anyway, so
See,
you get.
it says Fiorina blasts CNN for debate rules that could exclude her.
Wow.
Isn't that silly?
Yeah,
She's-
it is.
Fiorina hopping mad at CNN over looming debate snub. Yeah.
Wow.
Because we
Well,
don't want to see the same guys that were on the Fox News. That was boring.
If
I don't want to see
Fiorina-
the same guys.
Yeah, if Fiorina doesn't get on that debate stage, something's wrong with their methodology.
Yeah.
So you got Trump and Carson at 1, and then Fiorina at 3, and then Cruz at 4, Walker at 5. If you're just going to go with the top 8, and you've already got Fiorina in there, then you've got Bush at 6, and Kasich and Rubio at 7 and 8.
Which would be a great debate.
That
would
actually
be
would be a
interesting
solid
individuals.
debate.
Yeah.
Rand Paul just didn't cut through in the last
I
debate.
do not see him anywhere ever. I really don't. What is he doing? What does
Yeah.
his campaign consist of?
Yeah.
We, here on Fox 10 News Now, we take live feeds. We've got these live satellites. We're all over the globe.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky if we get a Rand Paul event once every 3 weeks or once every 4 weeks. I don't hear or see from him. And this is a guy that made his name, like his father, through grassroots marketing. So where is the grassroots marketing? I don't know if they're laying low and for whatever reason that I
Right.
can't comprehend, or what?
Yeah. He just seemed he did decide that he was going to be the Trump attack dog in that debate, right? You
Yeah.
could tell right out of the chute.
Well,
He's like,
I think he also went after Christie, and he was fun. That was fun to watch.
yes, right. But Christie is at 1% in this poll, this Iowa poll.
I don't think he's very likable.
We'll see if he gets to 2% with this latest FedEx remark, because people who like where Trump's coming from are going to like where he's coming from on this, especially if they dig in past the headline and see kind of what he's saying. So, anyway, yeah. Do you see Trump getting the nomination, asks Tree. I have gone from highly skeptical to primarily just thinking this is so great for us in the media and for you guys who love a good every day. There's actually a juicy tidbit on the political trail you can sink your teeth into.
Yeah.
And if you guys are political junkies like Kins and me, then you're gonna love that.
It's
that
not
was
politics as usual anymore.
That was my first approach to it, but I actually do think he is. I think people, just like this Iowa poll shows, that they're putting him in the category where he can be considered electable.
Love it.
So I actually think that the thing about it is, if Hillary Clinton is so badly damaged by the email scandal, then that will take its toll on her in the primary, not in the general, and she won't be the nominee.
But I don't think that Bernie Sanders, as a socialist, as a self-described socialist,
Right.
could be the Democrat nominee.
Yeah.
And Martin O'Malley, we're just not hearing enough from him. Although I think I like him. I've spent some time watching him, and as far as just likability, I don't know anything about his plans. As far as likability, he's a handsome guy. He's a well-spoken guy. I think he's creative. He did that press conference.
Do we have to
from
get
Trump's
into the
building.
looks aspect of it here, Kins? Come
Well,
on.
absolutely we do, because it's me.
I can't. I'm still perplexed as to, with all of Hillary's troubles, why Martin O'Malley isn't
A bigger
a
force.
Fiorina.
Yeah.
Why is Martin O'Malley not at 10% in these polls?
Exactly.
I mean, is everybody shift?
Because I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Because Hillary Clinton denies it. She is a great personal speaker. I mean, I've seen her some weakness lately. She really does cringe when Ed Henry opens his mouth during press conferences. I think she has an issue with when Ed Henry throws some curveballs her way.
Did you read that piece this weekend about Ed Henry?
No, who wrote it?
Oh gosh, it was, believe it or not, it was highly complimentary of Ed Henry.
Oh, okay.
And even Fox News, and it was from the Daily Beast.
Oh, I'll have to repost it. Ed Henry follows me on Twitter. He's my buddy.
Does he really now?
Yeah, I love Ed Henry.
Kins.
But he is great with his questions. He's a little pest when it comes to following her around on the campaign trail.
Yeah.
And you can tell he gets under her skin. I don't know if you saw the last press conference where she said he asked two questions
About wiping the server, right?
Well, no, it was something in regards to her actual campaign, and then the next thing was in regards to the having servers in somebody's closet, because her server was held in somebody's closet, I think on the West Coast.
Okay.
Her private server was just in someone's house in their closet,
Right.
and she was like, "Well, I'll answer one of your questions because I think you at least deserve that." And of course, didn't answer the salacious question,
Right,
answered the
of
general
course,
question.
yeah.
But you can tell that he gets under her skin, and it's a fun exchange to watch.
You go look for this piece on Daily Beast, because it talks. Ed Henry is very open about the fact, he is now the president of the White House Correspondents Association.
Wow,
So
that's
he
great.
is well liked amongst his colleagues.
Very much so.
But he said Jay Carney was so sort of condescending toward him that he could never get past the fact that he worked at Fox.
Yeah.
And it
And
was.
does Jay work for CNN?
No,
or is it MSNBC? He went to work as a correspondent for one of our competitors.
I thought he was completely out of media now and was doing something.
Jay Carney. He looks like an Archie comic. Do you know what that is?
Oh, yes. Yeah, now he's at Amazon.
Oh.
He's the senior vice president.
But he is. But he did leave and go to CNN as a senior political analyst.
Okay, that didn't last very long,
No,
did it?
No.
But so Ed Henry talks about how the new guy who took Jay Carney's place is able to. He says, he'll rip me if he feels like I'm being ripped, but I've never had a cheap shot from Josh Earnest.
I love Josh Earnest.
Compared to this sort of kind of
cattiness of
persnickety,
Jay.
cattiness.
Yeah.
That's
Jay,
good, Kins.
Yeah, thanks.
I love the way you pull those words right up. I'm like, what is that?
Well, I'm very familiar with catty. But no, I love talking to you, Hoon. I think maybe we should be at happy hour together. This feels good.
Sure.
This feels good.
Sure it does. And you haven't even sipped on your Monster drink.
I know.
And I got to probably get going.
I know.
The rest of
You're a grown up. I get it. I get it.
No, but hey, that was the beauty of it. And Sami and I have many days like this too. I'll look and I'm like, didn't I just sit down? And it's almost an hour.
It's magic.
That's magic.
Well, so you don't have to stand up in front of the camera. I'll transition to Ted. Do you want to tell everybody bye?
Bye, you guys.
And Rachie says you're fantastic, but you know that.
Rachie.
Okay, I'm heading back over to Ted. We're going to finish out our town hall with Ted Cruz right now.
Sorry, Gio.